two grid races on Silverstone that both came down to the wire. Here we go. So this first race in the Aston Martin here, waiting almost actually a full lobby, waiting on one more guy to load up. There's actually AI in this race, 4 AI, so technically a full session, but not really. Oh yeah, I'm also gonna play some music, as I do feel like it is kind of fitting because of the intensity of these races. Anyway, yeah, second gear to get that optimal launch off the line. Ooh. So peeling off to the right here, trying to make my moves around as many cars as I can. Gonna sit behind the slipstream of the red Porsche up in front. There seems to be a little bit of contact on the brakes to make sure I avoid hitting someone, and then on the left, for whatever reason, there's a black Porsche just completely ignoring track limits, going way out wide, and then just looking like he spins out there. I don't know what that guy was doing. Anyway, I'm sticking on the right side of the track, trying to keep my spot as best I can, but I'm just getting rammed off to the side by Jack Balla here. So slowly rejoining, but since that ram was there, I back off because I figured he was just going to push me off again, and thankfully I did push off because I likely would have been rammed off. So anyway, in the slipstream of the Porsche of Lesnuka, coming into this first left-hander, and I'm going to go in and then feel like I was a little too greedy there, causing me to tap the rear end of another Porsche and causing the spin out there. So now we're surrounded by AI, so basically the back of the grid, and now we gotta work our way back up. So passing this last AI here, and hoping to somehow manage to get the pace to catch back up and see where we can finish. Now in the slipstream of the Porsche up in front here, because of that I'm gonna have to lift a little coming to this corner, grabbing that dirty air, and it looks like, again, a bunch of contact here. I guess these would have been the back markers if we didn't count the AI. Anyway, coming through the S's of Silverstone, you can be super aggressive on the track limits here. As long as you're on the green, you're A-okay. And oh, just touching the rear end of Jack Balla, letting him know I'm there. He kind of squeezes me off there, kind of giving me a bunch of grass to eat. But thankfully, he yields the line once he sees I'm there. So coming around this corner, I can get a good idea of how many people are up in front. So in the distance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gamers to try and catch. So hopefully at least the Porsche and the Corvette in front of me can start fighting, and that will get me a chance to catch up. Also, if you're wondering, I have my HUD turned off for what position I'm in. I just like minimalistic HUD. Anyway, I saw that I got a purple split, meaning that I have the pace. I'm the fastest car on track. And thankfully, the Corvette and the Porsche in front of me started fighting. It's the Corvette of Tim. Oh, let's see what he can do. He goes up the inside, but since he's taking such a shallow line, he has no speed to try and contest the Porsche of McFly. And since there was some fair fighting, I don't really fear going around the outside and getting rammed off, because it looked like he knew what he was doing. Anyway, a similar situation to lap 1, in the slipstream of the Porsche up in front, except this time it's of McFly. And now, I don't really know what McFly did there. I guess he over-countersteered or something. But unfortunately for him, that cost him his position, and now I'm back up in what looks to be 4th place, with a gap of what looks to be 2 to 3 seconds, I would guess. So just confirm position, up ahead, 1, 2, 3 gamers. So now we just have to hold down our lines, keep the pace up, see if we can close the gap. Again, these S's, super aggressive. As long as you got 2 wheels on the green, you're A-okay. Again, a purple split, meaning we're the fastest car through that sector. Grabbing the slipstream of the Corvette up in front. We're really on the edge of it though, so it's not going to be very strong. We're only really going to feel it towards the end of the straight. As you can see, we're going to get close to 190 miles per hour, which is close to our top speed. And it looks like there was contact between the 2 Porsches up in front, causing one Porsche to go veering off the track. A similar situation to what happened to us, actually. Contact with a Porsche. Anyway, piling on the pressure on the Corvette of G-Man here. Gonna put my nose up the inside, seeing if I can sneak up ahead, but he covers it off at the last minute, and this is where I noticed where G-Man is actually quite laggy, so I don't really want to get behind him in fear of getting lag checked. So I back off to not get lag checked, but he, for whatever reason, leaves the door wide open for me here. And I think, okay, maybe he's gonna fight me up in this corner, but he's nowhere to be seen. I don't see the nose of his car, so I'm just like, well, guess this position's mine now. And again, not quite a similar situation as the previous laps, but somewhat similar to the Porsche up in front. Unfortunately, definitely way out of the slipstream range here. And it looks like, just looking at the minimap, the Corvette is not in the slipstream. So now we just gotta nail our lines here. Again, we can be in the green and say okay. Red split, not what we want to see. We want to be proving that we're faster than these guys. And, I mean, we could be faster. I mean, red split just means it's not faster for us, but it could be faster than them. We don't know. Anyway, just trying to follow his line. Again, still kind of too far for Slipstream to take effect. So just still having to nail my lines and do the best I can to close the gap. Ideally, I want to try to nail these S's better than him so I can get into the Slipstream for the final straight. So, not really getting super aggressive on that first turn, so I have to bank it on these next couple of turns. But a purple split means I'm faster, and it looks like the Porsche up in front went a little too deep, causing him a bunch of exit speed. Now I'm in the slipstream of him, gonna see if I can close the gap. The slipstream slowly ramping up my speed. Gonna bank out, he goes off defensive, but I try to see if I can send it up the inside anyway. Kind of a lunge and a half, I do say so myself, so I just give him a little tap, just let him know I'm there. He's gonna go defensive into the final couple of corners here. I read that, and so I go in for the switcheroo, but he's now on the inside, and I try to make the move happen on the outside, and his last line defense is trying to ram me off, but unfortunately for him, it just wasn't enough. Whoa, that was a spicy one. But yeah, entertaining race, I'd say, for me. Obviously, the drivers here weren't quite at the ideal caliber of skill, let's say. As you can definitely tell, like, the difference between fastest lap. But, you know, as people that play Grid know, there aren't many players active, unfortunately. Anyways, on to the second race we go. Not in the Aston this time, in the Dodge Viper. Let's see what we can do here. We're actually starting up towards the front of the pack. Starting in second gear for that optimal launch. Peeling off the line. Oh, would you look at that. So making my move, trying to move out of the way of the Porsche and trying to see if I can somehow squeeze around the outside, but he unexpectedly brakes and I just did not read that. And I go to the Porsche of Sir Smoke, causing me to lose a bunch of traction, costing me my exit speed into the next couple of sections. So now I'm far behind in 4th place. I guess not far behind, 4th place is still good. Anyway, coming in around this corner, I definitely desync killed the Ferrari of Speed Racer, which was unfortunate. It's just sometimes desync does desync things. Anyway, in the slipstream of the Corvette up in front, I don't really have space to go to, so I make my own space, going off the track. Then I decide to go shallow into this turn to avoid the dive bomb, and thankfully that was the correct play, as you can see the Corvette skidding behind me. If I did not go shallow there, he definitely would have been on my inside door, costing me the corner. Anyway, the Porsche of Sir Smoke is up ahead, and that's definitely well out of slipstream range. Sir Smoke is actually a really good player, so we're going to have our work cut out for us here. And one thing to note here is how I can take this corner flat out easily. It'll make sense in the coming laps. So again, you're going to have to be really aggressive on these S's to try and make up as much time as possible. Again, as long as you have 2 wheels on the green, you're alright. And look, we have a green split, not a purple split, which means we don't necessarily have the pace. But also at the same time, we did have to defend against that Corvette. So right now, trying to see if I'm in the slipstream, but yeah, I'm not in the slipstream. I'm a little ways out, unfortunately. So I'm gonna do my best to close the gap here, sliding my car through the final big curvy turn. Coming in the last final section here. Gonna try to be as aggressive as I can with the track limits to keep my speed up. The Porsche has insane rear grip, so especially coming out of low speed corner, sorry. They have a bunch of acceleration, so they just pull super hard. And as you saw, the last sector, purple split, which means we were a little bit faster. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going. I'm missing the apex there, which is very crucial. And unfortunately, the gearbox of this Viper means I rev bang coming through this section. So that's some lost speed there. Not really worth it to shift up there, so I just have to instantly shift back down. See, again, trying to see if I'm in the slipstream, but I'm just right out of it. So again, I just have to really focus up and do my best to close the gap. Again, another purple split, which means we're keeping the momentum up. Trying to be as aggressive as I can with these corners. Trying to grip up as soon as I can to put the power down and start accelerating. And it looks like here, I'm just on the edge of the slipstream. So we're going to see a little bit of a speed increase, so the gap's going to close a little bit. However, that speed increase is going to mean I'm going to have a little bit of dirty air, so trying to take the corner the same way I did in the previous lap isn't going to work as I go wide and unfortunately invalidate my lap. So I have to remember that for next lap coming around. And especially here, coming around in these S-turns, I have to brake a lot more because of the dirty air. And thankfully, the slipstream, though, guaranteeing me that purple split, closing the gap on Sir Smoke. I'm in the slipstream now, I'm gonna tuck in behind him, see if I can make a move by the time this next corner comes up. He's gonna go on the outside, thinking I'm not close enough to make a move, and he's right. Unfortunately, I was not close enough to make a move. I was way too shallow. So we're gonna see if we can make the move later on in the race. I'm a little too far for these tighter turns here. And especially considering the Porsche being as strong as it is in the low-speed corners, there's no chance of me trying to get the position. As you can see, it seems like I got a better exit out of that corner, but the grip of that Porsche is just nuts. As you can see, he pulls away. Anyway, in the slipstream, coming into the turn 1, I tapped the inner barrier, unfortunately, so I lift off. I don't really want to pass that way. That's a little dirty, right? And it's my mistake. So I decided to fight another day. Coming in this next section, not really much of a point in fighting it. Again, the Porsche just has insane low-speed traction compared to all the other cars, thanks to its rear-engine displacement. Anyway, in the slipstream of Sir Smoke, coming into the... I don't even know what number this is, honestly. This turn, gonna send it up the inside, unfortunately tapping his front left with my rear quarter, kind of like an inverse pit maneuver, causing me to straighten out and ruin my turn. So I guess I was a little bit aggressive there. If I would have braked a little bit earlier and went more on the inside, I probably would have had the move done. So again, just being a little too greedy and a little too aggressive, let's say, on the attack. Anyway, learning from a mistake for the second lap, I lift off here to make sure I don't exceed track limits. Tucking into the slipstream, trying to get my speed back. Again, aggressive on the S's here. Sir Smoke also doing the same, knowing that I'm right behind him. And he's really got to nail this section to try to pull as far away as he can for this straightaway, because I do have the slipstream. Anyway, same situation as the last lap. I'm in the slipstream. Where's he gonna go? He's gonna stay defensive. I'm gonna just take this opportunity to take the move on the outside, whipping my car around, locking the wheels up just a fraction of a second. But again, that traction of the Porsche causing him to have that grip and be right up on me. So I'm gonna have to brake and try to be defensive here, but he's way too close to me, so I have to give him some space. But I give him a little nudge there, trying to get my elbows out around the outside, and just try to nudge my way all the way to the finish. And thankfully, I can stick my nose up and cross the line first. A lot happened there at the end that I could not commentate fast enough for, unfortunately. But yeah, it looks like Sir Smoke got a penalty, probably from the aggressive first S turn, it looked like. It didn't look like he was on the green, but it could have been from something else, I don't know. But yeah, this was much more of a 1v1 type scenario, with me just trying my hardest to make a move happen, and thankfully we got it done right at the end. But yeah, that's about all I have for you. These races are quite old, I just hadn't got around to uploading them, but guess now they're here. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for hanging out and all that, and bye.